Hello and welcome to today's Facebook and LinkedIn Live. I'm really excited because I'm chatting to one of my favourite people, another fellow entrepreneur, Sam Acton, who is the founder of Domestic Angels. We're going to be talking all about entrepreneurship today and whether it's right for you and how to know, whether you want to become an entrepreneur and how to make it happen. And obviously, as two entrepreneurs, Samantha and I are hugely passionate about entrepreneurship and why it's such a great career option for particularly women who want freedom and flexibility. So thank you so much, Sam, for joining us today. It's such a pleasure to chat with you and obviously learn more about you. If people are logging on, do let us know if you have any questions about business ownership and how to make your business a success and take the leap. Obviously love hearing all your business questions. So before we get going in some, more generalist about entrepreneurship, do you want to give people a bit of an overview as to who Domestic Angels are?
Oh, thank you very much, Elizabeth, and thank you very much for having me on again today. It's lovely to be here, especially to talk about the subject of business and is starting a business right for you? I really would like to talk about that with people because it can sound a bit big and scary. So Domestic Angels started 21 years ago when I was made redundant for the second time. And for me, it was a solution to earning some money as well as remaining flexible and free to be the parent that I wanted to be. And it's so flexible and free that I'm still here 21 years later. And now that we are empty nesters, this is all about my freedom and a whole new stage of life. So for those of you who are thinking of maybe business as an opportunity for a solution for parenting, so you can be at the school gates and do the school run, be at sports day this week or next week, whenever the teachers decide to slick it in, do it. And remember, there's added bonuses longer down the line, further down the line. So that's how Domestic Angels came about. And yes, it does what it says on the tin. We help people in their homes.
Brilliant. Do you know what? I love that because we were chatting before, weren't we? You are going away for a month.
Yes.
You haven't had to ask anybody for that permission to go away for a month on a boat. And that is the freedom that we all aspire to with entrepreneurship. That, and like you said, I stupidly, this is my fault, didn't put the sports day in the diary. But I did put it in now. I put it in now and I've had to move some bits, but it's quite nice. This is why I did it. I didn't have to ask permission to move those bits. It's my diary. I control the diary. I've never missed a school pickup. And even looking at, we got the form yesterday for next year for the after school clubs. The after school group, not the clubs, but it's expensive. Actually,
it's expensive.
Really expensive.
You want your kids to have the best opportunity possible, of course. But it's also nice to be able to pick them up from school in a calm manner and go to the park.
Yeah.
And chat with the other mums and the other kids and be relaxed about it, not hammering to the school gates because you're allowed to finish work at 3 o'clock and get there at 3:15 and then have to hammer to the shops because you need something for supper. To be able to roll up, relax makes all the difference, and you can enjoy being a mum. And yeah, do you know what? You might do a half an hour or an hour in the evening. I know you've been doing some midnight oil burning yourself recently. That happens in business. But on the whole, you can find your balance by moving things around and having that fluidity. And like yourself, school gates, school runs, really important to me. But also, as our son got older, going to all the sports matches, having the things ready at the weekend for when it was rugby and sailing and whatever else it happened to be. And it just, yes, of course, there's a lot involved, but I was able to do all of it. And now we are enjoying the success of that because he's totally independent and standing on his own 2 feet. And now we have complete independence and freedom too. Of course, he phones up every now and again, showing me a 22-year-old who doesn't. But you get the idea. It's turned out to have far more gains than I ever anticipated. And I don't have to go and ask, please, may I leave early tomorrow because it's sports day?
Yeah.
Please, may I leave early on?
Yeah, you can have it, but you have to use your annual leave.
Yeah, and use your annual leave for it. Good grief, no. In fact, with my team, my management team, who are franchisees, I don't even have holiday allowance for them. I just think it's the most ridiculous things. Mums in particular can be incredibly responsible and will take the time off when they need it and be at work when they need to be. So, you know, just be responsible, be a grown up. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake is saying hi. Thanks, Jake, for letting us know you can hear us all okay, and for watching the session. So yeah, we talked about why we went into entrepreneurship, and what are generally the reasons you think why people go into entrepreneurship?
So why might starting a business be right for you? For freedom.
Yeah.
For freedom, without a shadow of a doubt. To have control of your time, your life, and your money is just the most fantastic thing. And once you get used to it, there's no looking back.
Do you know what? You'll never, I feel bad saying this because obviously I'm more championing a flexible work, but you will never get the freedom in even a very flexible job than you would do running a business, which is unfortunate to say, but it is.
Yeah, and the freedom, it's not just the freedom of time and having those control over those three elements that I've talked about, which are the most important bits, but it also freedom over your own inspiration and development and evolution. You're determining your own development as a business person, as a leader, as a mum, so you can ebb and flow it to work with your family. So right now I'm taking huge steps because I've got more time to me. So it works really, really well. Had I been offered some of the opportunities I've got going on at the moment 10 years ago, I probably would have not even noticed that they were offered to me because it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
So you can have power over that, which is amazing. But the other thing is you can develop the business to suit you. Now, some people just want to work on their own at home and crack on, maybe go to the cafe every now and again. Please just don't stay behind the front door. I know it's easily done and it's a habit that's easily developed, but we are humans and humans are sociable people. So make sure you get some interaction. And so they might take up some sort of tech training and deliver that into other companies or provide a service, social media service or something like that. That's fine. And then there'll be others of you who might want to develop that and recruit either subcontractors or employees to take that business forward and develop it. Now, I happen to go down the employee route. I employed from day one and get growing and growing and growing. And in the end, I needed supervisors, team leaders who ran the company for me. And then that got bigger and bigger. So then we converted it to franchise and it keeps evolving on from there. And I'm happy to evolve the business. Do you know what? It's endless fun. It's huge fun. I have never had any training in doing this. I learn as I go along. And that's a really important point in actual fact. Is starting a business right for you? You don't need a degree in how to run a business to run a business. You don't need to know it all up front. You can figure it out as you go along. Do you know what? You've got lots of brain cells. You are probably very clever and very resourceful and very instinctive. Those are the key things. And yes, you will be disciplined enough because it's your business. It's like your baby.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you on this because I've never felt more alive actually since running my own business, and the amount of growth, I feel my brain has exploded on multiple occasions. I've been so motivated, like you say, to take courses, to read books, to really invest, not really necessarily lots of money, but the time in that personal development and the growth I know I've had since running a business. I would never, ever experience that working in a job.
No, you won't, because when you're working in employment, when you're in a job, you're
told what to do.
You're told what to do. You might get some initiative opportunity in there and some control opportunity, but on the whole, any development you do is for the interest of that business. And it's probably a big business owner or a sizable. So the ability to explore in breadth as well as in depth about yourself and your potential, it really is heavily restricted. However much any employer says to you, it's restricted.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to breathe.
Yes. So a lot of people watching this will be thinking, I really would like to run my own business, but I don't think I can. I don't
I
think I've got
know.
the sales skills. I'm not confident enough. I don't know how I'd find clients.
Yeah.
What would you say to those people?
Okay. You are, if that's a belief that you have, then you will make your belief a truth. The thing is to turn it on its head and ask yourself, why do I believe that? Where's the evidence? Because if you really have a think about it, what was one of the examples? I won't find clients.
I won't find clients. Yeah, it will fail. I think, or it will fail. That's probably a big thing, isn't it?
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Have you done it? Where's the evidence?
Mm-hmm.
The chances are the answer to that is no, actually, I don't know. So this is actually a symptom of imposter syndrome talking to you. This is your inner critic telling you that you can't do something. Well, if you just let your inner coach have a chat and say, do you know what, Elizabeth? You can. You just need to apply yourself. You've applied yourself for many years for somebody else, for somebody else's benefit, an employer's benefit. Now apply it for yourself. You can do this. And there's an awful lot of women out here, including yourself, who would be so happy to have a chat with you, or if anybody out there who's thinking of starting their own business, and say, well, come on, tell me about it, what you want to do, where are you going to go, how are you going to do. You'll be very, very surprised at yourself. But when you say, well, go on then, how are you going to find your customers? Where are you going to do your marketing? Social media. Okay, how are you going to go about it? It doesn't have to be complicated. If you've got a good idea and you have belief, and it doesn't matter if somebody else is already doing it, because the difference is you.
Yeah.
You are the individual. You're the difference. You're the personality. One person will be happy to buy from you, but there'd be another person would be happy to buy from the other person. That's absolutely fine. You can do this if you want. And there's nothing better and purer and stronger than the motivation of a parent who wants to do this because they want the freedom to be the parent that they want to be, as well as to develop themselves.
Brilliant. Afsar, thank you so much for watching, Afsar. Another thing, like you touched on it then, is someone might want to start a business.
Yeah.
I mean, it could even be quite a local business, like hairdressing or something, and there's another hairdresser in their village, or there's somebody else doing what you want to do. What would you say to those people?
Be yourself, because everybody else is taken.
Yeah.
So remember that, and decide how you want to do it. So you want to start a hairdressing business? Well, do you know what? Keep your overheads down. Do it from home, or go mobile to start with. Build up your customer base. Maybe then down the line you'll be able to afford a hut in the back garden, so you've got your little salon going on. Don't diversify too much. Keep it simple, stupid. All the way. Keep your overheads down and keep it simple. When I started the business, I didn't have any pennies to rub together particularly. I had enough to tide myself through income wise, because I've been made redundant, but I didn't have money to invest in the business. So I used my brain and my skill sets and got it off the ground. And it's very simple. I hired cleaners, and people paid to have those people in their homes, and I found them by putting up posts on social medias and cards through people's doors. It was not complicated, and you don't want to have a whole load of people coming at you to start with, because opening the floodgates means you'd be overwhelmed, and then that becomes a difficult challenge for you as a new business owner, and then you've got a whole load of disappointed people who made contact. So slowly, keep it simple, keep your overheads low. Don't believe anybody who says you needed a shop and a shop front and a decorated car or anything. No, you don't. You be you. Do it simple. Do it slowly. It will happen.
Brilliant. You touched about capital. How much money do you think you need to set up a business?
Absolutely nothing if you really want. But what you do need is some money stashed away to pay your rent, mortgage, bring the food in, that kind of thing, in the first few months whilst you're getting underway. Now, if you are going to be the hairdresser, you're going to be earning pretty much straight away, because people are going to pay you at the end of the visit. Yeah, but you'll still need to have that money to get your foot through. I would have thought the first 3 months as you build your client base and start to get somewhere near the income that you need. Possibly slightly longer. It depends on how many people you know. Remember, always tell your friends and family first what you're going to do, because your friends and family will be your closest supporters and your fan club, and tell everybody and say, oh, do you know what? My cousin Elizabeth is getting underway with them as a mobile hairdresser and she's looking for new clients. I go, oh, I know somebody who needs them. And so the snowball starts to go. So you don't necessarily need anything. And I'm based on the assumption as hairdressers, by the time they're qualified and do something like this, they do have their own scissors and kit.
Yeah.
They might need to buy some hair dyes and things, but it would be minimal. Now, you might want to be far more complicated and have a shop front and loads of gear, whatever it is you're doing. Maybe it's a burger shop or something.
Yeah.
That's a massive investment. Now, if you're going to do that, you might like to look at taking out a loan or some money. Money is not as cheap as it was at the moment, but there are still some deals out there. Don't be forced into taking a business loan, because if it's anything less than about 25,000, it's actually cheaper to take a personal loan, but get financial advice on that. Look, be creative. Don't feel like you've got to conform to something that the bank has determined, because you don't have to. So it can cost as little or as much as you want it to. But I would always say, if you're going alone with a blank sheet of paper, so you've got no structure, no nothing in place, keep it as low as possible.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've recently launched, my business is 2 years old, so for the first year you are doing literally, I was doing everything myself, which is exhausting. And then when you start bringing more regular money in, that's when you can start outsourcing a little bit. And
that's right. And this is exactly it. When you start a business, you start talking to people, and if you go to networking events, they'll say, oh, well, then you can outsource this and you can outsource that. No, you don't need to. That is an overhead straight off. You need to believe in yourself and have a go at these things for yourself in the first place, so that you understand what needs to be done. So in the first few months of Domestic Angels, I went to HMRC and did the training for running a wage roll with a big sheet of paper, a pencil and a rubber. And that's how we learned how to do it. But it also means that every time I see a wage roll come off, I could spot a mistake at 10 paces. Yeah. I'd never touched wage rolls before. And I'm not the biggest fan of numbers, but I did it. That's absolutely fine. And then I carried on doing that until such time as there was enough money coming in to be able to afford the luxury of somebody running the wage roll. So don't let those people at networking events persuade you otherwise. Just hold the thought and keep at it yourself. I think a number of businesses do go under quite early because they're outsourcing too soon.
Yeah, that's good advice. Rachel, this is a really good question, and I'm pleased you've asked this. How to manage full-time work and setting up, I guess it's the time, isn't it? So how would you advise somebody that has a job and wants to?
Okay, Rachel, so this is all about setting up your side hustle before it becomes your main hustle, and it's a really popular thing to do these days. So congratulations to you for even having a thought. That is well done. Okay, so this is going to be a spare time thing. This is going to be heavily disciplined, but just go for it. Just go for it. It sounds like you may already have an idea if you're asking this question. So it's going to be when you're not working. Let's just assume you work Monday to Friday, so you've got your weekends and evenings. Get underway with whatever you can. You can set up your marketing, and if you've not done marketing before, it's not difficult to do the basic stuff, to have a website or a Facebook page. You might only need a Facebook page, you might not need a website. These are your shop windows, but you need to have something together. You need your name, what you're going to call yourself, and a good idea of what you're going to provide. Is it a service or is it a product? And just start doing it slowly and learn about it bit by bit, because at this point it's your side hustle, so it doesn't matter too much if it's not earning you too much money. And then grow slowly. Don't overwhelm yourself. So please don't work all weekend and 5 nights a week. Unless you're super energetic, in which case I shouldn't stop you. But keep a balance so that you're not wearing yourself out and disappointing yourself. Yeah, keep your eyes on the prize. And don't necessarily put a stake in the ground and say, by 6 months, it's going to be this far advanced, because business isn't like that. It's a bit like a child. It decides to walk when it's ready.
Do you know what? I'm thinking my daughter, my youngest, is a bit like that. She's very, it's all on her turf. So now I'm going to start thinking my business like her.
Yeah, well, you become a parent and you're expecting the child to walk at 1 year old, and then mine started walking just before 10 months old. It's like, what? You don't even communicate yet. How am I meant to tell you to stop? So yeah, don't try to run before you can walk. Take sensible steps. Be excited about it. Be passionate about it. Be energetic about it. And at the points where you think, oh, I don't feel like that now, put your pen down, walk away, go and do something completely different. Don't lose your energy. I really don't want you to lose your energy. I want you to be successful with that side hustle so it becomes your main hustle.
I hope that helped, Rachel. This is a question actually for me. How do you do, I guess business is more personal, isn't it, than when you work for somebody else? You can actually pass the buck quite easily. When you work with someone else, you say, it's the process, it's the system, it's whatever. How do you take things less personally when it's your business and it's your processes yourself, it's your systems you set up? And, that's my question. How do you deal with challenges and setbacks?
Setbacks, if something doesn't go quite to plan?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two ways of dealing with this. One is to look at the setback and think, is there some way I can improve that process? Is this a learning point for me that I should be doing things differently? Or is the setback because the person connected, the other person or entity that's connected with setback really isn't your ideal client? Yeah. So we have loads of amazing clients, absolutely amazing clients. But we also, from time to time, have clients come along who aren't quite so amazing. And the process possibly becomes a setback at that point. But what it really is the client isn't the right person for us. They are not on the same values playing field as us. Yeah. So we're not aligned. And so if that's the case, you need to let the client go. Just politely, it's absolutely fine. Do you know what? There's somebody else out there that's much more aligned with them and they'll be looked after. But there'll also be 10 more people out there who are more aligned with you that will come in, because you're losing that energy to the negative situation. So the energy is attracting in the more positive people. So always remember that and be confident to let clients go, but also be confident to see the learning opportunity and learning message when it comes in. That's not a setback. That is an opportunity. That's that's how I make the business stronger. That's how I make this better. Right. So that needs to go on the next plan of how we're going to do things and take things forward. And is there any other way that I can roll that out into other areas of the business as well? Because that's a strong message. So it's a fantastic thing when something like that happens. It's an opportunity to say, actually, that person or entity is not aligned with me. Or it's an opportunity to take things forward. And none of that is being arrogant. This is about being an entrepreneur. This is the freedom that we have, in that nothing is actually a setback. Everything is I'm going to do it better or differently.
Brilliant. Love that. Pricing. How do you determine your pricing?
Okay, so look around the marketplace and see what people are charging. And don't worry, nobody's your competition, because you are the only you. Yeah, let's just get that absolutely straight. You do not have competition. Look around the marketplace and see what's generally being charged, and try and persuade yourself to charge the going rate. I know when you're starting business, you're so grateful that anybody wants to buy from you, that you discount. Don't discount. You deserve better. That's absolutely fine. Again, I've referred to imposter syndrome earlier. That is imposter syndrome. So, I don't know, I'm so grateful and I'm only just starting. No, you are absolutely worth it. Charge the going rate, higher if you feel up to it. You are fantastic. You've got something special to offer the world. So make sure that you do that. Now, the other aspect of this is actually making sure that your costs are covered. So if the going rate is, say, £50, and you stack up your costs, and your costs are going to come to £49.50, then that tells me that your costs are completely incorrect, because if the going rate's £50, that means the majority of the industry are charging £50, and their costs are not going to be £49.50. They're not making just 50p profit on it. So there's something misaligned there. You should be able to charge the going rate and have your cost cover and earn a reasonable profit. And if you think, well, actually I've got it close, but it's not quite enough, put a bit more on to make sure you get the profit that you need. Okay, so there's nothing worse than operating a business and earning a debt. That is not the idea. You're in it to earn yourself a profit, which is your wage. That's your income.
Mm-hmm. So you sound like you've done loads of, I mean, you mentioned some of the stuff you've done with the HMRC. You'd obviously learned how to do wage reports. What other training have you done that's worth people investing their time in doing?
Oh, do you know what? I'm an avid book reader. Well, not avid, you know, a good business book 4 or 5 times a year goes a long way, especially for mindset. Mindset is everything. I did spend about 3 months learning how to operate Xero, the accountancy software. So when we converted over to Xero, and I've got the software here as well as our accountant having it, Emma, and I just became obsessed with it until I could make the whole thing function. And myself, I really wanted to know how it works. So I guess I'm naturally nosy and want to do those things. I haven't been out and done any certificates as such. I think we just naturally learn as we go along as business owners, because we want to and we have to. So we learn how to manage people, we learn how to do bookkeeping, we learn how to do our social media and marketing. I probably ought to go and do a social media course, but I'm at the stage where somebody else can do it for me.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't obsess with that in the early days. It's not going to make any difference. Then you're putting your overheads up really, really soon. I would go as far as to say you've probably got the skills to do at least enough to get yourself off the ground, or you've got a relative or a good friend who'd be happy to give a few hours and get you going.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I've done a lot of courses myself on YouTube.
Have you? Well, there you go.
And they're free. So
yeah.
YouTube has thousands of videos, you know, obviously you get lost. And business books, like you say, I've had a brilliant book on marketing. I'll try and dig out the link, and it was like 99p.
Oh, there you go. You see, we all learn differently, and we all seek out different things to learn from. I'm really big into culture and how we interact with our values and methodology across the business. Now, that all sounds a little bit like woo-woo and wah, doesn't it? But it's my favorite thing. So reading books about that is really important to me, and how I permeate the culture of the business to do that has been a really big deal for me. Here's a cheat. This is a really good way of cheating on the learning front. When I converted the business to franchise, Domestic Angels became the live client of the MBA cohort at the Bournemouth University, and they did all the thinking for me.
Yeah, good.
I just had to listen at the end, which is great.
Brilliant.
So I had 15 MBA presentations on the whole situation and what to do and what the green flags and red flags were. So if you're going to do something really like a big step like that, cheat. It's okay. Somebody else got that kind of brain, and appreciate where your strengths and weaknesses are. I am a natural goldfish. If something's not keeping my attention, I'm gone. And so, that absolute depth of research and thinking that the MBA students could do is something that doesn't fascinate me. But my God, the output really fascinated me. And we put it into place to create the franchise. So, there's always a way of doing things, even if it's not your natural arena.
Absolutely. So we talked about who entrepreneurship is for. What about who is it not for? Sorry, where have you gone?
Well, being a passionate signed up member of the entrepreneurship community, of course, I'm going to say it's for everyone, but actually being in business isn't for everyone. So if you are heavily risk adverse, you're probably not going to do this. And that doesn't mean that business has to be risky, because it really doesn't. I've played it safe over and over and over again. So don't believe that it's huge risk, because it doesn't have to be. If you play it on your own terms, it can be absolutely fine. People who are risk adverse, people who like to know exactly what's going to happen, business is not for you. Because you don't know what's going to happen. You really need to go with the flow. You might have an idea of where you want it to go, or I don't know how you do it, Elizabeth, but I visualize.
Yeah, I do, and then you sort of don't really know how you're going to get there.
That's
you start wandering around, and then you're like, oh, and then you go down one path.
Oh, that's what it's going to be. That's what the answer is. So how do I get there? I don't know. I'll worry about that tomorrow. And that's not natural entrepreneurship. That is absolutely natural. So you can't be in control of that process, and you can't be in control of the how. So if you're saying, or you're allowing yourself to say, right, I'm going to have a business that is X, Y, Z. Oh, but how are you going to get there? What if? What if this, maybe that? What if some babies? Then you're creating a barrier, and you have to say to yourself, is that my natural barrier that makes me risk adverse? Or is that imposter syndrome? So you need to divide between the two. If you're an if but maybe, my mum's an if but maybe, then you're probably not suited to running your own business, or at least not a sizable one with lots of employees. But if that turns out to be imposter syndrome, you might be able to get over it, and it'll be no problem at all. So risk adverse, or have to know exactly what's going to happen. Probably not going to do your own business.
Imposter syndrome is such a big thing, isn't it? And I think that's the thing that holds so many people back, is this imposter. And I've had it. I have it a lot. I mean, it's not I had it, I have it, it comes and goes all the time. And to be honest, I know we've talked about outsourcing things, but I think a really good investment for me has been having a coach and helping get me.
Absolutely, because when we go through education, which is a sausage factory to get you into whichever cotton mill owner you're going to work for in business, whether it's medium or big business, they need you to have imposter syndrome. Otherwise, you would never go into employment, would you? So it's all part of the way that we're educated and then taken through the job and career process. So if you find yourself with if, buts and maybes, that's why I say, find out, is it imposter syndrome? Is this natural to you, or is this something that's been layered in through your education and career experience? Chances are that's exactly what it is, and you can peel back those layers and let out the real you.
Oh, I love it. So good. I think it's been such a good chat. Thank you so much, Sam, for obviously chatting to us today about entrepreneurship. I hope we made you a little bit more interested about the possibilities of entrepreneurship and running your own business, and obviously how transformative it can be. And there isn't many people. I've met a lot of business owners on my journey in the past couple of years, and there isn't, like I said, many people that don't go back to employment.
No, there isn't. And I encourage any of you out there who are watching this either live or on playback, please do challenge yourself about starting your own business, because it's an absolute joy. The rewards far outweigh the inconveniences when they come along, and there is freedom about it. It is inspirational, and you will evolve and learn, and it's huge fun, and you meet some incredible people. So please give it a thought, and if you do come up with questions after the show, pop them on Elizabeth's LinkedIn or Facebook. We'll deal with it, or message in private. We'll deal with it. I'm very happy to have a chat with anybody who's thinking of pursuing this pathway, because I am all about business, all about supporting other people going into business more than anything else.
Definitely. We definitely need more business owners. Eva says, amazing. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for everyone that watched, that asked questions. Hope you enjoyed it. And yes, Sam, you're very connectable, aren't you, on LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. My phone number's everywhere as well. Just message me if you want support. If you just want to have a chat, do you know what? I love a chat. Please make contact. Let's start that journey of thinking about going into business.
Brilliant. Eva says she's currently setting up her own business, so this was really helpful. Best of luck, Eva, with your business.
Best of luck, Eva.
Wait to see what you create.
Do it.
Yeah, and someone on Facebook, sorry, I can't see because it's not said who it is, says, congratulations, ladies, keep inspiring us.
Oh, no, thank you. And congratulations for taking the time to listen. That
Yes,
is a big
thank you.
first step if you haven't taken the step before.
Yeah, brilliant. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And thank you so much, Sam.
Very welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.